So the final heat of the day is out on track. And, will be another new pole sitter in the 111 of Jake Brooker. He'll line up alongside the 55 of David Brown. Row 2 will be Mark Tate and Josh Fulkes. Row 3, Steve Nichols and Brandon Truman-Reddish. Row 4 will be Martin Black on the inside of Scott Tate. And then rounding out the top 10 will be Sam Harris and Connor Lucas. 11th is Nigel Richardson, 12, Simon Doughty. 13th, Connor White, alongside his championship rival, the 73 of Danielle Gardner. So as we all grid ourselves up and get ourselves ready for the final heat, that's the number 43, or 2019 champion Connor Lucas. Behind him is Simon Doughty, the 52 is Connor White, 73 Danielle Gardner, 98 is Emma Brown. Then we have Paul White, Adam Wood, Alban Dowell and Ross Jackman as they roll into position at the back of the grid. Start line marshal makes his way to the front. Flag in hand. Jake Brooker will look to get us underway for the final heat of the day. The green flag is up, he's away. Not sure whether that was a fast start by the 81 of Tate on the inside or a little bit of a jump, but nevertheless he's through and he's into second place from the 55 of Brown. Looks like Brandon Truman-Reddish has made a great start as well. He's up to 4th place already from the 3rd row where he started in 6th. Brooker leads though from Tate. Brown, Connor Lucas is already up there getting into the mix of things. Brandon Truman-Reddish has been turned round though, faces the wrong way. Josh Fulkes was either involved or had to go right round the outside of him. And that's allowed Connor Lucas to move up a number of places towards the front. So we still have Jake Brooker out at the head of the field. So it's Brooker from Tate, then Brown, then Scott Tate. Connor Lucas is going to dive down the inside. Makes the move down the inside into hairpin number 4 and moves up another place from his 10th place start, and he will move all the way up to 4th. So Brooker leads from Tate, Brown and Lucas. Scott Tate is 5th, Josh Fulkes 6th, Steve Nichols 7th, Connor White in 8th, Martin Black, Simon Doughty are your top 10. Then we have Nigel Richardson, Sam Harris, Danielle Gardner, Ross Jackman, Emma Brown, Brandon Truman-Reddish in 16th after a superb start and then a spin on lap number 1. Paul White, Alban Dowell and Adam Wood as Josh Fulkes goes to the inside of Scott Tate. Tate though gets the drive on the outside and Fulkes doesn't put up too much of a battle until he's back down the inside as they tiptoe their way round that bottom corner. And often with the pro karts with the slick tyres, it's harder to race in this conditions. Fulkes with a block pass down the inside of Tate. Contact warning as well for the O-plate of Fulkes. They'll go side by side, and it is often harder for the drivers with the slicks when the weather conditions are drying like this, as each driver finds a bit more grip and a bit more pace on every lap rather than it being a continuous rain or it being dry and everybody knows what the script is. Everybody has a different interpretation of where they want to go as the circuit dries itself out. Connor Lucas is going to try and go right round the outside, jacks it back onto the inside and makes the move on David Brown. Goes up to 3rd, Brown will drop to 4th. So Connor Lucas 2 laps in and has already moved up from 10th place to 3rd, having had a very, very difficult first heat in where he spun out on the final lap from 4th place. Started heat number 2 from the back of the grid and could only work his way up to 10th. Has found much more pace in this 3rd heat. Has himself currently in 3rd position as one of the cones goes for a Burton onto the grass. So that one's out of the way. We just need to skittle one more cone out of the way for a full house on cones. Brooker, though, leads 1.1 second. Is the gap back to Tate. Lucas in third, with Brown fourth, Fulkus in fifth, Scott Tate in sixth, and we've got somebody off into the barrier. I can't see though because of the tannoy. It's Sam Harris in the 53. He's gone from, where was he? Was 11th, and now he'll be around about 18th or 19th when he gets himself back on the track. But out in front is Jake Brooker, and looks like we have a change for second. Mark Tate's dropped back. Connor Lucas, your 2019 champion, is up to second and has his sights set on the 111 of Jake Brooker. So it's Brooker, Lucas from Tate, Brown, then Josh Fulkus, Scott Tate. Let's have a look to see where Sam Harris drops to after his spin. Personal best though for Richardson and Brandon Truman Reddish as he fights his way back up the field after his lap one spin. Harris all the way down at the moment in 18th. After that spin, he's got a lot of work to do, but the grid's obviously reset for the final, so his position, his race 1 and 2 results will play into his final position. But out at the front is Jake Brooker. Contact warning for Sam Harris. Not sure whether that contact warning was for a car or the contact he made with the tyre wall as he went across the grass, but either way he's picked himself up a contact warning. Drivers here are allowed 1 contact warning, and then after that will be black flagged and will take no further part in the race that they are in, and that will obviously hamper them in terms of points scored. Half race distance, the gap is 1.9 seconds between our leader Jake Brooker and Connor Lucas in second. We have Mark Tate, David Brown and Josh Fulkus in third, fourth and fifth, and that is the battle that we can see on screen. Fulkus trying to take a different line, see if he can make a move past Brown, but they're all seem to be taking a similar line into hairpin 2, which has given none of them an advantage down the back straight, and it's line astern into the bottom corner as Brown closes up slightly on the back of Tate. Try and keep an eye on the gap between our 2 leaders as Lucas tries to close a gap of 1.971 seconds in the 4 remaining laps as they come over the line. He's going to need half a second a lap to close that one down. So it was 1.9 as they come over, it's 1.8, it's only a 10th. Personal best for Mark Tate, he comes over in second, our leading 70s driver. That's Heat 1 winner Steve Nicol coming through in 9th. Started on pole position for Heat number 2. And bogged down at the start and dropped back to 7th or 8th. Currently runs 9th overall as we watch the 7.57. Simon Doughty coming through in 13th, under pressure from the 117 of Ross Jackman. Behind both of them is the 98 of Emma Brown. Jackman throwing that cart through the chicanes. Doughty looks a little bit more in control as Jackman works hard at the wheel of the 117 to try and close up onto the back. So out at the front, Brooker will come through. Still 1.8 last time round, 1.7 this time, so it's 1/10 a lap and there's 3 laps remaining. So if Brooker can keep it facing in the right direction and remains composed, it's going to be another win for Jake Brooker, which most likely will see him on pole position for our Senior Pro Kart final. We are at the end of this race, we are 5 races away from the end of the day, and it seems age ago since we started at 8:15 this morning with the end of round number 7 down the back straight. Though that's the battle for 3rd place is Mark Tate coming under pressure from Josh Fulkus, who's found a way past David Brown in the 55, and Brown has dropped away a little bit in the battle and he's behind. Fulkus will take a much wider line round the outside, try to cut to the inside of Tate. He does so, but not enough to get alongside. There's certainly a move coming at some point as Conor Lucas sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1:01.305, and he's got 2 laps remaining to try and close the gap down. He's took a huge chunk out of Jake Brooker that time. He's found 6/10 in 1 lap. He finds another 6/10 to be right in the back. Josh Volkers from miles back makes a move down the inside of the 81. I don't think Mark Tate saw that one coming. I'm not sure Josh Volkers knew much about it. I think he just slammed the anchors on and just appeared on the inside of the number 81. Not seen many drivers make moves on the inside of that corner today, which has been the track tightened with the appearance of that big puddle on the inside. The gap for the lead, though, has closed quite a lot. It was at 1.1 seconds before. I don't think it's going to be quite so much this time around as they come over to take the last lap board. It was 1.1, now it's 0.7, and Conor Lucas can smell the blood of Jake Brooker in front of him with 1 lap remaining. Brooker skims a bit of the puddle on the inside. Don't know if he's looked over his shoulder recently, but there is a bright yellow and pink cart behind him of the number 43 of Conor Lucas. And Lucas dives to the inside on the final lap. Lucas goes to the inside, goes tight, forces Brooker out wide onto the rumble strip, and we have a change for the lead with half a lap remaining. It's the 43 of Conor Lucas through from 10th place on the grid. Jake Brooker, though, is going to dive back down the inside, and Jake Brooker returns the favour. Brooker leads then from Conor Lucas. Contact between the two of them. And now they're going to run side by side over the line. Conor Lucas, though, has got all the track position. He's through, and Conor Lucas will take the checkered flag. A frantic last lap between those two. Up and over the curb. And they go side by side throughout most of that final lap. Plenty of contact between the two of them, but in the end, it's Conor Lucas who takes the checkered flag first from Jake Brooker, Josh Volkers and Mark Tate, David Brown, Scott Tate. Connor White, Martin Black, Steve Nichols and Nigel Richardson round out the top 10. Danielle Gardner, Brandon Truman Reddish, Simon Doughty and Ross Jackman, with Sam Harris recovering to 15th after his excursion across the grass earlier on in the race. Emma Brown, Paul White, Adam Wood and Alban Dowell will come through to complete the 19 kart, senior pro kart grid. Second place will be just about enough, though, to have Jake Brooker on pole position for the final, but in and around him, possibly on the front row, is Conor Lucas. Those two drivers are coming through side by side on the track now. They'll get themselves over the weighbridge. They'll be the next two over, along with the O plate of Josh Volkers. Now have 5 remaining races. It's final time, and we will start, as we always do, cycling races with our Bambino. That is your race winner, Conor Lucas. Race director in the background, just advising all our drivers that running into the race is not advisable. And sort of actually focus on today, but in the background, and very shortly out the track, we'll have our Bambinos for the first of our finals. So do not go anywhere. Back goes into the moment.
Do you know what I actually don't know what's worse about the Bambino race?
Welcome back. It's final time here at Teesside Karting for round number 8 of the NRG Cycles Owner-Driver Sprint Series. On pole position for the Bambinos will be the number 7 of Scarlett Dunn. She will line up just in front of Thomas Potter in the number 22. And behind them will be Edward Haynes and Oliver Sibbald. So the top 3 in the championship line up at the front of the pack. So on the inside there, number 7, Scarlett Dunn. Then we have the 22 of Thomas Potter, Edward Haynes in behind in the 44. Then we have the number 4 of Oliver Sibbald, 69 of Riley Buckton Young, 55 of Henry Hansen, 66 of Edward Wright, and the 88 of Ollie Carter. Engines sufficiently warmed and parents removed from the grid to the comfort of the bank to watch the Bambino final get itself underway. And underway it is, with the number 7 of Scarlett Dunn moving away at the head of the field through the first chicane and round the National Loop corner. She'll then go through the double left-right section and into hairpin number 1 on her opening lap here of the Teesside Autodrome circuit. All of our classes for their finals have an additional 2 laps, except our Bambinos, who have an additional 2 minutes added to their race time. So what is normally an 8-minute race goes to a 10-minute race for the final. So our Bambinos will, at the very, very least, get another 2 laps in as the circuit continues to dry here at Teesside. I think we've seen some 1 minute 4s earlier. I think we'll see times drop considerably as the circuit starts to dry out. So drivers will come through for the first time. Scarlett Dunn crosses the line. She'll set the first time of the final. It's a 1 minute 12:01. Thomas Potter follows with a 12:29. But the fastest opening lap so far by a good half a second is Edward Haynes in the number 44. Crosses in a 1:11.455. So that's 7/10 faster than anybody else on the opening lap for Edward Haynes, who started the day in 3rd place on the grid for the final, and will be 3rd out on track as our drivers start off in single file with a 2 or 3 second gap and are sent on their way. Each driver has then got the opportunity to use the track in front of them to set the fastest possible time that they can for the cumulative lap round from the start, where they take the green flag through to the checker at the end. So we have Edward Haynes leads from Scarlett Dunn, and then Thomas Potter, Oliver Sibbald, Henry Hansen, Riley Buckton Young, Edward Wright and Ollie Carter, your 8 Bambino drivers here at Teesside this weekend. Dunn will come through and go to the front of the timing because she's the only one over the line. Potter goes into 2nd. Haynes returns to the head of the field though as he goes through to begin his 3rd lap there in the number 44. Oliver Sibbald will be out on track. He'll be on track behind him in the number 4. And then we have Riley Buckton Young in the 69 and then Henry Hansen. There we do, we pick up the 4 of Oliver Sibbald, leaning right over the side pods as he goes into the corner. Once again, leading himself over the engine to the left-hand side, the Commer C50 engine on all of our Bambinos here at Teesside this weekend. Goes up and round the National, round the South Bank corner. Circuit considerably drier now than what it has been. Drivers, their opening laps earlier on in the day were around about 1 minute 15. Now we're getting 1:11s for opening laps, so around at the very least 4 seconds faster, at least from a standing start for our drivers, and the puddle on the inside is completely gone, as you can see, which means that both of our unfortunate cones have been moved onto the inside of the curb, which will allow our drivers to take a much shorter route, although the 69 of Riley Buckton Young still goes quite wide through there, adds a couple of metres to the track length. As we follow him around the loop at the top of the circuit to rejoin onto the national track through the two right left section, and then into hairpin number 1. He will then cut back to the outside of the circuit for hairpin number 2. Runs all the way out to the outside of the track. Goes down the back straight. Has a quick look down to his left side. Not sure if he's got a bit of a problem or he's just getting his head down behind the steering wheel in that number 69. He goes round the bottom corner and into hairpin number 3. Another one of the drivers running a number board just in front of his engine to deflect the water out of the way of the little Comet engine. It's a small 2-stroke engine, so each of these carts has a little bit of oil mixed in with the petrol, rather than our Honda classes in Cadets, Junior Pro Kart and Senior Pro Kart, which is a Honda engine, which it's a 4-stroke engine, so just runs fuel. The 2-stroke classes both in Senior and Junior Pro 2-stroke and the Bambino classes. They have a little bit of fuel mixed in with their petrol to make sure the engine runs as smoothly as possible, as we are now 4.5 minutes away from the checkered flag, and it's Edward Haynes at the top of the timesheet, from Thomas Potter, Oliver Sibbald and Scarlett Dunn all the way down now in 4th. Riley Buckton Young 5th, a fastest lap that time round for Ollie Carter, does a 12:08, with Hanson 5th, Wright in 6th, Carter is 7th. Haynes still leads though from Potter. Dunn is shown as 3rd, but Sibbald is yet to cross the line and will do so in a few moments. There he does and pops back up to 3rd. So Haynes, Potter, Sibbald and Dunn. Follow the 55 of Henry Hansen through the final 2 sweeping bends. He cuts down to the inside, takes the optimum line through that final section of corners. See the 44 of your race leader, Edward Haynes, going round the bottom corner on the track, and regarding track position, Thomas Potter is in front of Scarlett Dunn. So he will come through, and but Edward Haynes, 3rd on track, is closer than he was to the both of them as they come through. We'll see as he crosses over the line, he goes to the front of the pack in terms of timing. So it's Haynes in 1st place from Thomas Potter, Oliver Sibbald and Scarlett Dunn. Riley Buckton Young, Henry Hansen, Edward Wright and Ollie Carter. 8 drivers. 2 minutes and 40 seconds remaining, so that's probably 2 more laps at the end of this one for our drivers. As we pick up the 22 of Thomas Potter, closing down the 88 of Ollie Carter. Potter follows Carter round and will then look to hopefully dive to the inside. Looks like he's going to have to go right round the outside if he wants to get past. And this has allowed Scarlett Dunn to close right back up on the back again. So Potter with the cutback gets down the inside. Dunn can't get past Carter this time, and she might have to wait until she is through the chicane section before she can make her way past him. So Potter from Dunn at the moment, but Haynes with a personal best of a 1:08.09, with one of the few laps that we've seen in the 1:08s for Bambinos as the track continues to dry. Junior Pro Kart will be out next. I'm not sure if it's going to be dry enough for any of those to strap on the slicks. I think most of those will be out, if not all of them, on wet tyres again. But might be worth one of the drivers towards the back end of the grid taking a bit of a risk and putting the wets on and putting the dries on, and seeing what they can do. in the final and seeing if it can make all the difference as Scarlett Dunn does finally get the move done on Ollie Carter. But right round the outside as well goes Edward Haynes, and he's close right up in the number 44. Don't think there's any doubt at the moment that the 44 of Haynes has got the fastest machine out on circuit, with the circuit drying. Looks like he's going to take a victory here in Bambino if he can keep that number 44 facing in the right direction for one more lap of the Teesside National Circuit. Thomas Potter is second, Scarlett Dunn is third, although Oliver Sibbald comes through and moves up to third, so that's Dunn down to fourth. Sibbald with a 1:08.323, so fastest lap for him. Haynes has spun, your race leader has spun, and he's on the grass. Could be catastrophic for the 44 of Haynes, who was looked set to take a race win. He's on the grass and he's got himself back going, but it might not be enough for him. He might have handed the win to the number 22 of Thomas Potter. We will have to wait though, as always, to come through the timing, but it looked like he was pushing too much to try and get past the 7 of Dunn, when in all honesty he had the job done. He just had to stick there on the bumper, see out half a lap and take the victory. So we'll have to see what it does when he comes through, but at the moment the first person to take the checkered flag will be the number 22 of Thomas Potter in the final. So Potter comes over, Dunn into second, Haynes will drop to third at the timing. We'll see what he does as he comes over the line. Goes up to third, so it's Potter, Sibbald, Haynes and Dunn. So a top 3 in the round 8 Bambino final is the number 22 of Thomas Potter is your race winner. Oliver Sibbald gets second, Edward Haynes in third, Scarlett Dunn is fourth. So that is great for Thomas Potter's championship hopes, but in all honesty he's had that one gifted to him by Edward Haynes, who looked to have everything wrapped up with half a lap remaining until he locked the brakes going into hairpin number 1 and slid off the track and onto the grass. Luckily the lightness of these Bambino carts allowed him to return to the circuit without much problem. So through comes the 22 of Thomas Potter. I think I might have to have a word with his dad later on and find out where he's got those bright orange gloves from. I think I might need a pair of those for doing my dishes at some point. So there is your race winner, number 22 of Thomas Potter. Through fourth place for the number 7 of Scarlett Dunn, puts an end to 7 consecutive race wins for her with a fourth place. Oliver Sibbald is second and Edward Haynes in third. That is the end of the first final of the day for here at Teesside. So 4 remaining races to come. It'll be Junior Pro Car out next. The circuit is certainly drying, that's for sure, but we'll see whether any of them are brave enough to put the slicks on and see. I'm sure when it comes to the cadets afterwards, one of those will certainly be give it a chance to see how it goes. Certainly if you are down the field and you don't have very much to lose, sometimes it's worth trying something a little bit different. See, mix it up a little bit. So out in the background go our junior go-kart drivers, 12 of them on the grid today, and they will be led, often, as I have said, by the number 38 of your championship winner, Aaron Alexander. The final cart's over, that's the 66 of Edward Rye, very happy with himself, and a big thumbs up to our Weybridge camera. So we return to the circuit as we see the number 38 of Aaron Alexander on the inside of the front row alongside Jack Morris, as he has been for most of the day when it comes to starting races. We then have a second row of Owen Spears on the inside of Kieran Lambert in third and fourth. Jake Richardson will be fifth. He will be alongside the number 41 of Mason Barker. So as the drivers come through to take up their position on the grid, there will be 6 rows, and on row 1, Aaron Alexander and Jack Morris. Row 2, Owen Spears and Kieran Lambert. Row 3, Jake Richardson and Mason Barker. Row 4 is Sandro Ballesteros and Thomas Braid. Row number 5, Callum Booth and Asher Blythe. And row number 6, Jake O'Connor and Caitlin Frame, number 18. Circuit is certainly a lot drier than what it has been throughout the day. And with any luck, we will get a full day's dry racing tomorrow. So that's the final of our Junior Pro Kart drivers gridded up and ready to go. All of them look to be on wets as we look. Start line marshal making his way to the head of the field. Green flag in hand. The green flag is up. Green flag is down. We're racing in Junior Pro Kart. Aaron Alexander cuts across Jack Morris on the front row to block him off and leads round the national loop for the first time. Owen Spears goes into 3rd. Kieran Lambert down to 4th. Then there's a big gap back to Mason Barker in 5th. Opening lap, everybody round the hairpin for the first time. And Alexander is on his way again, followed by Jack Morris down the back straight. Owen Spears, Kieran Lambert. Mason Barker goes to the inside, goes defensive to block off a move down by the inside by Jake Richardson for 5th. Asher Blythe makes a late dive to the inside of Thomas Braid, but can't do it. He's going to have to try it again on the next corner, and he does. Goes down the inside. Braid's going to try and get the power down round the outside, but Blythe's got the move done. So Blythe takes the position. Remember, he started in 10th, comes over the line in 7th. The superb first lap for Asher Blythe. So it's Alexander, Morris, Spears, Lambert, Barker, Richardson, Blythe, Braid, Ballesteros, O'Connor, Booth down in 17th. Had a great start to the day at the end of round 7, did Booth, and has struggled ever since. We changed the name of the meeting to round number 8. He's found it very difficult, and we'll come back tomorrow for a fresh day. So 12 laps for Junior Pro Kart, and the first one is out of the way, and it will soon be number 2. And as usual, it's Aaron Alexander out at the front. I'm going to stop saying it. I think I'm just going to record that for tomorrow and just play it once a lap as he comes over the start-finish line. So 2 laps down, Alexander, Morris and Spears are your top 3. Spears followed by Kieran Lambert, who's coming under pressure now from Mason Barker, who seems to be getting more and more comfortable as the circuit dries itself out. Then we're going to have Asher Blythe right on the back of the number 9 of Jake Richardson. Blythe gets a good run, gets into the slipstream. Will he dive out right at the end? No, he doesn't. Decides to wait as Mason Barker takes a really wide line round that bottom corner. Got to try something different when you're in a train of karts, and certainly that's one thing that he's considered. Go right round the outside of the South Bank corner and then try and dive to the inside of the number 14 of Kieran Lambert. So Alexander leads comfortably 1.8 seconds from Morris. Spears, then Lambert. Spears backing Lambert up as they come through. 2 tenths between them. Lambert's going to try and dive for the inside, but the corner there is now a lot tighter with that ever-decreasing puddle on the inside. Asher Blythe there on the back of the number 9 of Richardson, trying to get to the inside, but he can't do it. As the 5 of them in this battle for 3rd place go down the back straight, currently led by Spears. So it's Spears, Lambert, Barker, Richardson and Blythe in the battle for 3rd. Then there's a gap back to Thomas Braid, Sandro Ballesteros, Jacob O'Connor has been overtaken for 10th place by Callum Booth on that last lap. Asher Blythe now all over the back of the number 9 as Alexander sets the fastest lap of the race. Looks like these two might have dropped away a little bit from the battle in front. They have, slightly, as they get involved in their own little battle for 6th place. Richardson currently holding that one. Blythe wants it though. Spears runs a little bit wide out of there. Kieran Lambert's got a good run and will go to the inside. Spears is going to squeeze him to the inside, but Lambert's got the move done before they get to the South Bank corner. A change in the top 3 sees Kieran Lambert go for 3rd, but Spears is going to dive back to the inside. Behind them, there's contact there between Blythe and Richardson. They're going to come out of that corner side by side. Everybody's got a friend to go side by side with except Mason Barker, who's sat in the middle. Right round the outside of Spears goes Lambert though. Lambert into 3rd, Spears 4th, Barker in 5th. Richardson holds 6th from Blythe, but that'll continue for the rest of the race. Asher Blythe likes to get a move done, and he's finally got it stuck after the finish line. Goes down the inside of the number 9 of Richardson, so Blythe up to 6th, Richardson down to 7th. As Lambert moves away, Lambert moves away into 3rd. Richardson looks to return the favour on Blythe, but he can't. Spears now is going to come under pressure from Mason Barker as they go into hairpin number 3. Barker there in the 41. Spears in the cart with the number 17 on the front and half a number 17 on the back as the part of the number board has been broken away. You see it there, the bottom part of his number board is missing as they come up to lap the number 18 of Caitlin Frame. They're going to go right round the outside, and that's going to allow Asher Blythe in the 15 to close up, but has also meant that the number 9 of Richardson drops a little bit further back. So Lambert will lead down the back straight in 3rd, the front 2 well down the road. Aaron Alexander holding a 1.8 second lead from Jack Morris, which Morris has managed to close up ever so slightly on the last couple of laps. Be great to see Morris pick up a victory before the end of the season, but he's only going to have 4 races after today to get it done, but certainly been there or thereabouts at the front of the field for most of the season, and with a quadruple of second places, if he was to finish where he is, he's certainly cementing his place in 3rd place in the championship here at Teesside. As we find our way towards the end of the 2019 summer season, we'll then wait for a few weeks before we head to Warden Law on the 8th of December for round number 1 of the Winter Series, before returning to Teesside for round number 2 on the 29th of December, which is always a great day to burn off those Christmas calories by throwing your cart around the Teesside National Circuit. We then have the final round of that series, which will be on the 26th of January at PFI, as we see Asher Blythe has made a move on Mason Barker. So Blythe up from 10th on the grid to run in 5th now. Going in the right direction in that red number 15 cart. The flashes of orange and yellow on it. Out at the front though, Aaron Alexander has eked out another 3/10 from Jack Morris. So Alexander leads from Morris. Lambert has got a bit of a cushion now to Owen Spears, then Asher Blythe behind them, Mason Barker, and then Jake Richardson in 7th. Battle for 8th is Thomas Braid and Callum Booth battling with each other. Although Braid has dropped away, Booth certainly there, and Braid is now towards the back of the field behind Jacob O'Connor in the number 42. 3 laps remaining here in this 12-lap Junior Pro Kart final. Alexander leads by 2.6 seconds from Morris. There we see Braid drop down the timing screen to the 11th. Booth is 8th, Ballesteros 9th, O'Connor up into 10th with a personal best of 56.8 seconds. So we have now a battle raging for 9th place. It's Sandro Ballesteros at the front of that in the number 19. Jacob O'Connor working the number 42 cart behind. Let's have a watch of the 19 we saw earlier in the day. Sandro throwing that cart every which way but straight to get it round the circuit. And then we have the recovering Braid in the background in the number 12. So the battle towards the bottom end of the top 10. Ballesteros 9th. O'Connor 10th, Braid in 11th. They'll all come through. 2 laps remaining for these drivers, 1.5 for your leader, who is already going round the South Bank loop at the bottom end of the circuit into hairpin number 3. He's going to come up to lap the 18 of Caitlin Frame, her first race here at the Teesside Autodrome. So he's going to go round the outside, is he? I think then he's going to cut to the inside. He does. Alexander with a clean overtake. Takes the last lap board as well and a huge chunk of curb as he goes round the corner, skims the puddle on the inside. Confident youngster, already crowned the 2019 champion here at Teesside to add to the Shennington title that he won a few weeks ago at the start of the month. So away he goes down to the inside. Looks back to see where his nearest challenger is. The answer is 3.5 seconds back down the road for Jack Morris. So 2 corners away, and once again it's going to be that familiar line of taking the checkered flag, the heat and the full complement of heat and final wins. Out of the final corner, gets the power down. Aaron Alexander puts his arm up already. He knows the job's done in terms of championship, but the job's done for another heat and final win. He's going to be taking 2 winners' trophies home today. Adds to the round 7 final that he won earlier on this morning. Adds round 8 to it as well. So that's 2 race winning trophies. And on the final lap, Asher Blythe has got past Owen Spears for 4th, but your top 3, Aaron Alexander, Jack Morris and Kieran Lambert. Asher Blythe gets 4th with a great result for him. Owen Spears is 5th, Mason Barker 6th, Jake Richardson in 7th. We have Callum Booth 8th, Sandro Ballesteros 9th. That is the end of your junior pro kart race. That is your front 2. Your race winner on the outside is Aaron Alexander. He will be back tomorrow to see if he can add to his ever-growing trophy collection with another win here at Teesside as we go into our final round, which is round number 9 of the 2019 NRG Cycles Owner-Driver Sprint Series. 3 more races for you here today, which will be our cadet final and then our pro final, then senior pro kart. So all our drivers coming over the line. All of them did in fact go for the wet tyre here on the right here. Thought the cold temperatures not helping the driving process. 3 races remaining. Cadets are going out onto the track in the background, so we'll have a moment of the pro kart over their weighbridge. Give them all camera time. That's the 9 of Jake Richardson. Of Callum Booth. Teesside should be back tomorrow for action. Start at 9:20 on Teesside Karting Facebook page or Alpha Live Productions page. So you see our drivers coming up and over. That's the final ones over the weighbridge, and we will now cut to the front row of our cadet grid. Inside and pole position, the number 23 of Charlie Wyatt. Alongside him, your 2019 champion, Oliver Buckton. Row 2, in third place, is Bella Franklin, alongside Gracie Mitchell. Row 3, Lizzie Mentier and Catherine Potter. Row 4, Sebastian Corking and Max Shields. Row 5, Isabella Stanmore Wilson, who celebrates her 8th birthday, will start in 9th alongside our leading 160 driver, the Oakley Ollie Poole. Then we have David Mack and Jack Thompson, William Robinson and Finlay Fishburn line up behind them.
Matt Boots, it's anything being cute.
Looks like we're going to have the 54 of Kian McLeod through next. I think he's going to get sent on his way. Driver's getting himself sorted. So yeah, the 59 is on his way. That is Kian McLeod. The 32 is Josh Harrison. Then we have Charlie Benson and Leon Barlow, who struggled earlier on in the day with a retirement, and he's got that cart sorted. So then we have the 77 of Sophie Pawsey, the 81 of Ethan Girling, and the 44 of Oliver Watson, and the 21 of Victor Hansen. That is everybody sorted and ready to go. Start line marshal makes his way to the front of the grid. So we have 3 races remaining. The first one of those 3 is our cadets, and they will be underway very, very shortly. Wyatt on the inside, Buckton on the outside of the front row. Green flag is up, green flag is down. Great start by Buckton on the outside. There's a lot more grip on the outside of that circuit, and Oliver Buckton will lead into the first corner from Charlie Wyatt. Gracie Mitchell takes a huge amount of water on the inside, but lives to fight another corner and slots into 5th place. Wyatt and Buckton. Buckton with a great early start, and he will lead, but Charlie Wyatt once again cuts to the inside, and they go side by side down the back straight. Although that one settled very quickly, Buckton getting the run, and he will lead for the first time of this 10-lap cadet final round the South Bank corner and into the right-hand hairpin number 3. Hook the cart back to the outside, left-hand around hairpin number 4 and into the sweeping bends, and he will go over the start line to register the first lap, and it will be our leader, the number 66 of Oliver Buckton. So it's Buckton from Wyatt, Franklin, Mentier, Mitchell, Corking, Shields, Mack, Potter. Tough first lap for her, down from 6th to 9th. Isabella Stanmore Wilson is 10th. We have Jack Thompson leads at 160 in 11th from Ollie Poole in 12th. Kian McLeod, Finlay Fishburn and William Robinson. Leon Barlow, Ethan Girling, as we've got a change for the lead in hairpin 2. Wyatt goes down the inside. 66 Buckton's going to go back through though. He's going to get much more of a drive, but will he slide himself wide? He does, and Wyatt is back down the inside. So Wyatt leads from Buckton. Buckton sliding round there, doesn't manage to get down the inside, and behind them, getting ready to pounce, is the number 8 of Bella Franklin, who in heat number 3 came through from the back of the grid to finish 3rd. So knows exactly what she has to do in these wet weather conditions. Here in this final, we are 20% down. That's 2 of our 10 laps done. It's Charlie Wyatt at the head of the field from Oliver Buckton and Bella Franklin. Nothing between the 3 of them as they go round the first corner, down to the inside. Looked like Buckton was going to make a move, but thought better of it in the end. Mitchell is 3rd, Mentier 4th, Corking 5th. Then we've got Shields, Mack, Wilson, Potter. Thompson still leads 160 from Poole, McLeod and Fishburn. All of those 4 running together. Franklin looks to go to the inside of Buckton. She can't. Buckton's got a good run though out of that corner and is right up onto the back of the 23 of Charlie Wyatt. Nothing between those 2 drivers at the front, as there hasn't been for most of the day, since Buckton won the first 2 races of the day for round number 7, and then we've come to round 8, and these 2 have been very evenly matched ever since. Movements further down, Harrison and Pawsey move up as Barlow drops down to 20th. tough day for the 42 of Leon Barlow. He will come back tomorrow, though, to another day, see if he can improve, put a positive spin on the end of his season. Down the inside, though, looks like Buckton's going to try the cutback. Can't get it done, though. Wyatt's got a good drive out of that corner. Still nothing between the two of them all the way through. So as we have 4 laps down, it's Wyatt and Buckton from Franklin, the top 3. They're running nose to tail. Looks like Ollie Poole's got himself past Jack Thompson for the lead of 160. He has. Robinson in the 87 now, splits them with McLeod in 14th, Fishburn in 15th. Girling, recovering from a tough early start to the day, is up to 16th. So this all looks like Fishburn there got a bit of overspeed on McLeod and had to run wide so that he didn't get down the inside. McLeod goes to the inside of the 87 of Robinson, gets that job done. Robinson, though, with a bit more straight line speed, will look to come back to the inside. The door firmly closed, though, by McLeod. McLeod there in the number 54 with his 160. Running onto the back there of Jack Thompson. 0.3 of a second is the gap between the leaders. Ollie Poole lead 160, comes through in 11th. Thompson 12th. McLeod 13th. So 1, 2, 3 in 160 is Ollie Poole, Jack Thompson and Cian McLeod, who debuts here today. 16 is David Mack, running 8th at the moment, getting that cart to stop very firmly, and behind him is recovering Catherine Potter. She's down in 10th, having started much higher. So we have Max Shields there ahead of that battle. Coming through now as we are past half race distance. Your race leader is Charlie Wyatt, Oliver Buckton, Bella Franklin, and Gracie Mitchell's got herself in the mix with the fastest lap of the race, a 54.142. Has brought her right onto the back of Bella Franklin, and she will now look to move herself into the top 3. Trophies for the top 3 in both classes, and certainly she looks like she wants one of those. Goes wide, tries to hook back onto the inside to try and get a run, and there's certainly a lot of speed in that number 11 down the back straight. So all of our 200 carts running a fixed gearing of 68 and 20, so that's a 68 tooth cog on the back and a 20 tooth clutch on the front, which keeps a nice even balance for all of our cadet drivers here. So 3 laps remaining as they cross the line. Charlie Wyatt is out in front. The gap is 2/10 as Oliver Buckton sets a personal best. As the top 4 run almost nose to tail round the National Loop corner and through the chicanes. All of them on the anchors for hairpin number 1, and then hook it back for hairpin number 2. There's a back marker coming up, and let's see if any of these can use that as an advantage and see where it comes into play. Looks like Barlow's going to have to dive to the inside. He does, and the same for all 4 of our drivers. Safely negotiate the back marker and get themselves going again, but it looks like could have impeded Buckton a little bit, and Franklin is going to come through as well, is she, with the help. Oh, and Buckton around, Buckton's round, Franklin's round. Both of them have kept going though. Fantastic from both of the drivers to keep the carts going and turn it round and facing them in the right direction. Gracie Mitchell moves up to second. It looked like Franklin was getting a bit of push from Mitchell to try and both of them work together to get right round the outside of the 44 of Buckton. Buckton took a huge amount of curb, ended up getting air, and it took him into Franklin as well. Racing incident for the 3 of them, but it looks like Buckton might have a little bit of a problem. It certainly unsettled the number 66 driver as Mentier comes through into 4th. So we have Charlie Wyatt now out in front, and he's got more of a gap than he's had for all of the race so far, with the incident happening behind him. The fortunate one, Gracie Mitchell, not to get caught up, and the arm is up from Oliver Buckton. Looks like his race is over and he retires from 5th place. All our other drivers will move up. So Corking will go to 5th, Shields will go to 6th, Max 7th, Stanmore Wilson 8th, Potter 9th, Poole will come up to 10th in the battle for 160 supremacy. But he's got a good gap now back to Thompson, whose battle for 2nd in that class is with McLeod. Robinson in the mix as well. Fishburne has dropped away. Harrison is now in front of him in 15th. But as the last lap board is out for all of our drivers, and coming out of hairpin number 4 to take the win in the heat number 8 final. Arm is up already, he knows the job's done. Charlie Wyatt takes the victory and the winner's trophy home in the number 23. But Gracie Mitchell will come through for 2nd, Bella Franklin 3rd, that's your podium. Lizzie Mentier in 4th, Sebastian Corking a superb 5th for him. That's the highest finish that he's had by some margin in the number 52. Max Shields is 6th, David Mack 7th. Stanmore Wilson will be 8th, Potter 9th. Ollie Poole wins 160 with a superb 10th. Kian McLeod will take 2nd in 160 with a final lap overtake on Jack Thompson. So that's 1, 2, 3 in 160. Ollie Poole, Kian McLeod and Jack Thompson. We have William Robinson, Josh Harrison, Finlay Fishburne, Ethan Girling, Oliver Watson and Sophie Pawsey. 2 remaining drivers to come over. We have Leon Barlow there with the 19th. And then we have Oliver Buckton, who will be classified as 20th, but didn't take the checkered flag. He retired 1 lap early with problems caused by the incident on lap number 8. Involving himself and Bella Franklin as they went up and over the curve there. So we now have 2 more races remaining, so that's the 8 of Bella Franklin there sat on the weighbridge. Mentier is lined up behind, so they will come over, so everybody comes through. Looks like Franklin is not overly happy with the incident that they had there. But, to me it was a racing incident. It looked like Gracie Mitchell had the speed behind them, was pushing Bella Franklin through. It looked like they then caught it a little bit tight up and over the curve for the unfortunate Oliver Buckton in the 66. So the retirement for him, but the championship is already in the bag here at Teesside. That is our cadets out of the way. In the background we have our 2-stroke class, so we'll be back in a few moments with those for their rolling start. We are back with our 2-stroke final. As expected, on pole position, having taken 3 wins, is the number 66 of Ryan Elliott. Alongside him will be the number 89 of Daniel Kell. Looks like the power's down and they're all away, and Elliott on the inside, Kell on the outside. On the inside of them, Andy Ambrose was 3rd, but now he's had the nose chopped off by the 18 of Callis Cole. She's not taking any prisoners as she moves up from 4th into 3rd, right round the outside. Ambrose will then have to drop into 4th. Ficini up to 5th in the lead junior. Will come under pressure now from Max Prentice. So Ficini, there in the yellow helmet, has been overtaken there by the 33 of Prentice. Kell battling for the lead, trying to get past Ryan Elliott. Elliott will now, on this open run out, will move away at the head of the field. So Elliott leads from Kell. Callis Cole, Andy Ambrose, Max Prentice, Ben Ficini, William Young, Jude Cole, Paul Swan. Steve Kell drops away from 11th. Tom Reeve goes up to 10th. Parker is 11th. Kell in 12th. The 34 of Burns, not with us after his retirement in the last one. Also looks like we might have lost the 86 of Lindsay as well. So 12 carts over the line and running in this 12 lap.
Before the race started.
2-stroke final here at Teesside Karting. Top 4 drivers with their blue numbers on your screen are our senior drivers. So we have Elliott, Kell, Cole and Ambrose. Then we have Prentice in 5th, Ficini 6th, Young, Cole and Swan. So as we come through, Elliott in the Soul X30 leads. Kell leads our Rotax seniors in the number 89 from Callis Cole and Andy Ambrose. Then we've got Ben Ficini behind Max Prentice. Prentice moving away and trying to close down the gap to Ambrose in front of him. We have Jude Cole there as goes down the inside. We have, looks like William Young running very, very wide at hairpin 1. Is he going to recover to get to the inside? He does, and he's going to have a little bit more power, and he goes down the inside of Cole. So, but then gets caught up on the inside. Cole's going to try and get right round the outside, and Young slides himself back to the inside as they exchange places once again. Cole's running quite wide and onto the grass a little bit. Cole is through. Quite an aggressive move by the driver of the number 77 on the number 92 of William Young, but he's got the job done and he's up to 7th place. On the screen there is the number 18, that's Callis Cole. She's going to come under pressure very shortly from Andy Ambrose. And then we've got our lead junior driver in Max Prentice in the number 33, cart with the red number board. The circuit dries out down the back straight. You see dry patches forming around the top end of that south bank corner as the water runs away. I don't think we're going to see any surprises in terms of weather now. It's completely different as you see this some sun in the background, which is a welcome appearance towards the end of the day as people will they're looking to dry out their race gear, ready for tomorrow's action, which we hope will be very, very dry throughout the entire day. Oh, Andy Ambrose has spun and he's taken Max Prentice with him. Andy Ambrose got too close to the back of Callis Cole and spins round. Max Prentice had nowhere to go and got balked and ends up on the outside of hairpin number 1. Both of those drivers will drop a few places at the very least, and Callis Cole has now got a very, very comfortable run in 3rd place. It's like Ambrose has managed to recover in enough time to stay 4th, as has Prentice, but now they're under pressure from the 77 of Jude Cole. So no places dropped for either of those drivers, but they are a lot further back than where they wanted to be. So it's as you were in terms of position. We are through, that's 5 laps down. It's Elliott from Kell, Callis Cole and Andy Ambrose, Max Prentice, Jude Cole, Ben Ficini, William Young and Paul Swan. Stephen Kell comes through to add another lap on, he's in 10th. Then we have the 22 of Tom Reeve and the 29 of Adam Parker. Our 12 remaining runners, we are missing the 86 of Alfie Lindsay and the 34 of Josh Burns. Josh had a tough day, hopefully he gets everything sorted and we will see him tomorrow morning here at the Teesside Autodrome circuit. Half race distance and a personal best for Daniel Kell of 51.518. So drivers now come through, all of them on wet tyres, and as you can see, bits of spray as they go through puddles, but largely in the areas where the track is flat, it's drying very, very quickly, and I'm expecting to see the senior Pro Kart drivers, their pace increase throughout their race, which will be in around about 10 minutes time. It'll be our final race of the day. And then we'll be back at 9:20 tomorrow morning on the link for round number 9 on the Alpha Live YouTube channel or via the Teesside Karting Facebook page. As always, we pass on our appreciations to our live stream sponsors, NRG Cycles, and thank you very much throughout the season for their support in bringing Alpha Live for you throughout the season here at Teesside Karting. We have had, by the time we're done tomorrow, we will have had 180 races all in throughout the season. And we've had some superb races from round number 1 through to where we are right now, watching the number 77 of Jude Cole try to close the gap to the 33 of Max Prentice, who gets past the 29 of Adam Parker, who's running in 12th, so he's a lap down. So the leader of Ryan Elliott sets the fastest lap of the race with a 51.018, out in front in the Soul X30 kart, enjoying himself nonetheless at the head of the field. Then we have Dan Kell from Callis Cole, Andy Ambrose and Max Prentice. Jude Cole is 6th, Pacini 7th, William Young in 8th, Paul Swan in 9th, Steve Kell 10th, Tom Reeve 11th. There is Adam Parker in the number 29, as we see Ben Pacini and William Young come through and round the first of the 4 hairpins here, the first tight hairpins anyway at the Teesside National Circuit. 3 laps remaining for your race leader, and 3 laps also for Daniel Kell, who's our leading Rotax driver. And he will be picking up some more points in his quest for his championship. He's going to have to work incredibly hard, and he might need a little bit of luck tomorrow with Andy Ambrose. But if we mentioned earlier, if Ambrose can keep the kart facing in the right direction and finishes within a couple of points every time, but the points difference in the final between 1st and 3rd is 12, and that will close the gap a little bit. We'll see what we can we'll have a look at the full championship permutations tomorrow after qualifying and Heat 1. We'll keep you updated as the day goes on regarding that championship, and we'll see whether Daniel Kell can in fact close the gap, as the leader, the 66 of Elliott, throws the kart round hairpin 1. Even though he's leading quite comfortably by 5 seconds, he's still wringing the neck of the number 66 X30 kart round the bottom corner. We've got a yellow flag out at the corner that he's coming up to. The driver stationary on the outside. He's going to get himself back on track in a few moments, and does so right in front of your Rotax leader Dan Kell. So Kell will go around the outside. It was Adam Parker who was stationary on the outside. Last lap board has been taken by your leader Ryan Elliott. He is 6 seconds away down the road from Daniel Kell, and he's around about 50 seconds away from seeing the checkered flag for the first time, for the 4th time today. It's going to be a clean sweep for him in his X30 for the overall win. It will be a similar story in Rotax for second on track Daniel Kell. Battle there. That's Ryan Elliott. He's going to come through. He's going to put a lap on the number 90 of Stephen Kell. down the inside. So he's going to come through, wipes his visor, comes through, takes the checkered flag and the victory in our two-stroke class. Ryan Elliott in the X30. Behind him, the 89 comes through of Daniel Kell. Takes the win in Rotax. Second will be Callis Cole. Let's keep an eye out for her. There she is in the background with the yellow helmet in the number 18. Second in Rotax for her. And Ambrose rounds out the Rotax podium in fourth. Max Prentice takes the overall win for our junior class from Jude Cole. Then the battle comes through between Ben Ficini and William Young for the final podium place in juniors. It will go the way of Ben Ficini by just over a second from William Young. Then we'll have Paul Swan will come through in ninth. Brings an end to two-stroke racing here at Teesside for the day. They'll be back tomorrow, as they always are, for round number 9. So as all our drivers make their way off the circuit, your race winner, number 66, Ryan Elliott. Just having a quick look at where the sun might be in terms of direction. I think a couple of drivers are struggling if they've got the clear visor on as they come out of hairpin number 4 through the sweeping corners to the sun now might be quite low in the day. The time is 4:45. Might just be wrapped up and done for 5 o'clock. It's been a long day since we made our first appearance here at Teesside. It was 8:15 when our heat number 2 rerun for our two-stroke class got itself underway. The sun hadn't even risen properly when they got themselves out on track. In the background, our final race of the day makes its way out of the dummy grid. Over the weighbridge, and in a few moments we will cut to our senior pro kart grid. On pole position will be the 111 of Jake Brooker. Looks like he will be lining up alongside the 55 of David Brown. So Brooker on pole position, Brown alongside him on the front row. Row number 2 has Mark Tate and Josh Volkers. Row 3, Steve Nicol and Scott Tate. Row 4, Connor White and Martin Black. Row 5, Brandon Truman Reddish and Connor Lucas. After that we have Sam Harris, Nigel Richardson, Simon Doughty and Danielle Gardner. Adam Wood lines up alongside Ross Jackman. Then we have Paul White, Emma Brown and Alban Dowell. 19 drivers on our senior pro kart grid here at Teesside for round number 8. The final race of the day is about to get itself underway. 12 laps of senior pro kart action here at Teesside will bring round number 8 to a close. Start line marshal gets himself to the front. Brooker on the inside, Brown on the outside. The green flag's up, it flies, and we are underway. A great start from the second row by Mark Tate, finds himself in second place. Brown will drop to third, and a couple of drivers are up and over the curb. Spray from the puddle that's on the inside there. But it's Jake Brooker, he will lead away. Up and over the curbs he goes. Tate and then Brown. Steve Nicol with a great start from row 3 is up to 4th already. Brown is through back into second. Tate will dive down the inside. Brown cuts back on him and he goes back into second place. So it took a couple of corners to get the move done, but David Brown returns to second place. Jake Brooker though leads round the South Bank corner with 12 laps of senior pro kart action. The drivers quite tentatively feeling out what the track conditions are like compared to last time. It's dried a little bit, but you don't want to get too confident, because all of a sudden you will find the back wheels overtaking the front. Lap number 1 though is out of the way, and it's Jake Brooker with a 1:03.1 leads, and he's got a gap of 0.8 back to David Brown and Mark Tate. Steve Nichols up from the 3rd row into 4th. Josh Folkers 5th, Connor White 6th, Scott Tate 7th, Martin Black is 8th with Connor Lucas 9th. Oh, up and over the curb, that's Steve Nichols, and he's off and into the tyres is Steve Nichols. Josh Folkers almost went with him, but he's managed to save it, and he goes back down the inside. We're going to have 3 drivers side by side down the back straight. One of them is Connor White, the other one is Scott Tate. Looks like White's gone right round the outside of all of them. Connor Lucas is going to go to the inside as well. Everybody is chopping and changing each other at that end of the circuit. We mentioned earlier that 3rd corner takes a lot of time to dry, and when everything else is dry it will still be a little bit slippy. But out at the front, the 1:11 of Jake Brooker in our clubman class, but he's currently leading out overall at the front, a gap of 1.4 seconds to David Brown. Mark Tate 3rd, Connor White in 4th, Scott Tate 5th, and then Josh Folkers. Steve Nichols has got himself running again after his excursion off the track and into the tyre wall. He was up and over the curb. Looked like he'd got it under control, but then had to couldn't get it stopped in time. Ended up going off and almost took Josh Folkers with him. Folkers loses a place to Connor Lucas down the back straight. Looked like he'd made a move on Scott Tate. Looked like he'd got it done. Tate cut back to the inside of him, and then all of a sudden Connor Lucas has made an appearance up the inside and into 6th. Round goes Scott Tate though at hairpin 4. A spin for him has ruined his race day. He's going to drop down to around 12th. He joins alongside Sam Harris. Quite aggressively, he's back and he's going to go down the inside of Danielle Gardner into that corner. The puddle on the inside there, shrinking every lap as all our drivers clip a little bit of water. The sun's shining in the background, drying the track with every lap. But out at the front with a 0.9 second lead is Jake Brooker. David Brown has closed the gap slightly to him as Connor Lucas looks to pick off another kart in front of him. This time it's for 4th place, and it's Connor White. White's going to try and stick it out right round the outside though, but it looks like Lucas has got that job done. Gets on the anchors just in time, and White has dropped another place as well to Josh Folkers. So Folkers tries to follow. White tries to get cut back onto the inside though, but Folkers has got the job done. Gap for the lead remains the same, and we are 1/3 into our race distance. It's Brooker from Brown, Tate and Lucas. Although the battle for 3rd is 4 seconds back from our lead pack of Brooker and Brown. They're running out on their own towards the front of the field. 43 is Lucas running in 4th. Folkers is 5th, 6th is White. Behind them we'll have Martin Black and Brandon Truman Reddish there battling together. Reddish tries to get down the inside, but he can't get it done. Martin Black in the blue helmet holds firm and holds on to 7th place in the number 13. Right round the outside is the 757 of Simon Doughty. Let's see how that one plays out for him. He's gone right round the outside, and I think if the 151 hadn't have tried to stick a move down the inside of Martin Black, I think he might have carried the speed right round there, and I think he might try that again the next lap. Jake Brooker sets a fastest lap of the race with a time of just over 1 minute. So can we see any of our drivers on this drying track find a 59-second lap on their slick tyres? He's opened up a gap now of 1.8 seconds as they near half race distance. Truman Reddish all over the back of Martin Black, and we've seen throughout the season. Brandon Truman-Reddish, a driver not shy of making a move when it comes to overtaking. Down the back straight, round the bottom looped corner. In the background again is Simon Doughty. Going slowly round there though is Josh Folkus. He's dropped away, so Folkus drops from 5th to behind Doughty, so Doughty is up to 8th, Folkus is 9th. Problems for Josh Folkus. So that is half race distance. On the back there is Connor Lucas trying to get past Mark Tate, but he can't do it so far. As it stands, Connor Lucas will finish outside of the top 3, which has almost been unheard of this season. He's either been in 1st or 2nd in all of the rounds so far. When it comes to final, dives to the inside, slams the anchors on and gets it stopped in enough time, and throws the kart to the outside to stop the 81 of Mark Tate coming to the inside, and moves into a podium position for the first time in the final. With just over half race distance, he's up into 3rd, but he's got a big gap to close down David Brown for 2nd. There is David Brown in front. The gap is 4 seconds on track. It looked a lot closer there, but Brown is out of hairpin 4 and on the power a lot sooner. We are Jake Brooker though. We've not seen much of him, and that's because he's 2.5 seconds down the road and in pole position for a win so far. Touch wood for him. He drove impeccably this afternoon in round number 8, picking up a heat win and then finishing 2nd in the last heat, which put him on pole position. Truman-Reddish goes to the inside of Martin Black in the 13. Josh Folkus is going to try and go, and will Folkus try and push Truman-Reddish through? He will, but he goes to the inside, so Truman-Reddish looked to have made up a place, and in fact he's ended up losing 1 to Josh Folkus in the O-plate. Folkus will then try to come to the inside, but the door is closed, was never really open by the 13 of Martin Black. Another fastest lap, 1 minute, 0.8584 for Jake Brooker at the front of the field. 3.6 seconds is the gap back to David Brown. A personal best for Connor Lucas closes the gap by a second to Brown with 4 remaining, as Folkus goes to the inside and takes back 6th place from Martin Black. So Folkus up to 6th, Black 7th, Truman-Reddish in 8th, Doughty a superb 9th for him. Nigel Richardson is 10th. Scott Tate trying to recover as we follow Martin Black out onto the back straight. Brandon Truman-Reddish trying everything he can to get past that number 13 car, and both of them in their heat of their battle allowed the O-plate of Josh Folkus to return back in front of them, having had a mishap earlier, a few laps earlier, going very, very wide round the South Bank loop. 3 remaining though for our leaders. The gap is almost 5 seconds. Fastest lap, a personal best for Josh Folkus, as our drivers cut the inside of that national loop corner a little bit. Steve Nicol is up to 14th, Jackman down to 15th. Nicol recovering from his early race excursion over the curbs and into the tyre wall on the outside of hairpin number 1. Truman-Reddish working the 151-7 car incredibly hard, trying to get past the number 13 of Martin Black round the South Bank loop. Our leader will come through and has 2 remaining as he puts a lap on Alban Dowell in the 183. So he's got a 5.5 second gap and a back marker back to 2nd place. That is the battle for 2nd. David Brown now coming up under all sorts of pressure from Connor Lucas. Lucas has closed that gap at almost the rate of 1 second a lap. They're going to come up onto the back of Alban Dowell very shortly, and David Brown has spun under pressure. Conor Lucas didn't have to do anything other than put his cart where it needed to be. The pressure got to David Brown and round he goes. Conor Lucas is up to second. David Brown spins out of second place. Hopefully he got that going in enough time before Mark Tate came round, and he's got himself back into second, into third. We'll check in a moment. It would be a shame if David Brown didn't go away with a trophy. He's drove superbly all day until the championship winner came up behind him, and then just Conor Lucas where he was enough for Brown to turn that cart into a spin. So with 1 lap remaining, it's Jake Brooker out at the head of the field. 5.5 seconds is the gap that he's got from Conor Lucas. He's just got to keep the 111 cart facing in the right direction. A look over his shoulders to see where the next driver down the road is. He's got half a lap round the South Bank loop into hairpin number 3. Out of hairpin into hairpin number 4. Round the corner, he could almost get out and push this one home now. Jake Brooker comes through in the 111 to take a first victory of the season for him. Takes the checkered flag, and a superb victory sideways emphatically celebrates his victory over the line. Conor Lucas in through in second. In third place over the line will be David Brown. Josh Folkus on the last lap gets past Mark Tate, as does Connor White. Up into 5th in his battle for Clubman honours. His nearest championship challenger, Danielle Gardner, finishes in 13th. Truman Reddish in 11th, keeps himself in the mix for that championship going into tomorrow. Steve Nicola, heat winner earlier in the day, comes over the line in 14th. Jackman is 15th. We await Paul White. He comes over and heads straight off into the pit lane. He'll be the first one in, wants to get himself dried off. Emma Brown and Adam Wood round out the grid. But a superb victory there for the 111 of Jake Brooker. He'll go alongside Conor Lucas as they superb sportsmanship from the 43 of Conor Lucas, applauding a victory by the 111 of Jake Brooker. Drove impeccably in that final, got himself into the lead from his pole position start, and never really looked back, having got back past David Brown on the opening lap. So a superb victory for the young driver from Nottinghamshire. Following him is the championship winner, the number 43 of Conor Lucas. And rounding out the podium will be the number 55 of David Brown. And great to see that he managed to get it going, get it headed back in the right direction and round out the podium. Nothing less than he deserves after a superb day's racing for the number 55 of David Brown. That brings a close to the racing here at Teesside Autodrome. We will be back tomorrow morning from 9:20 on the Alpha Live Facebook, on the Alpha Live page, and on the Teesside Karting Facebook page as well. The appearance there of Ross Jackman took me a bit by surprise. I think it took Sam Harris by surprise on the weighbridge as well. That brings a close to our race meeting today. Thank you very much to the marshals, the medical team, and everybody here at Teesside Karting for getting us through the race day. Thank you very much to the production team, to Shane, Chris, James and Nick on cameras as well. It's not been too nice out there for them, so thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning. I've been David Sullivan. I'll see you tomorrow.